Yeah. Do you just want me to send her the thingy link?
I've got the link. everyone, and welcome to our event today. My name's Rama, and I'm an executive from the Advertising, Marketing and PR division. I will be co-hosting the event today with Anita, who is the head of our division, and Nat, who is the director of the Business Society. He is here in the audience, by the way. Today we have our guest speaker, who is from the Surrey Business School, and he is an industry professional. He has a lot of experience, and I have to say it's going to be a brilliant keynote. I just want to mention that we will be using Menti at the end for questions. Please do use the QR code and ask plenty of questions. We're going to try and fit as many as possible. But yeah, I would like to hand over to Dash, and we will begin our keynote. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Okay, before we start, we've got quite a few people in the room. Hundreds, no, just joking. But can we have the mobile phones on silent, please? Right, this is going to be a little tour of where I've been, where I've learned, and where we're going to go in the future, what it holds. So, as Rama and the team have actually explained, I'm Dush Patel. I'm a co-founder of Multi-Stage Life. I'll go into a little bit detail later on. But what I'm going to actually cover is the industry experience which I've gained over time. And I'm going to share with you the mistakes I've made, the successes I've had, and you can replicate them, or you could say he's just talking a lot of rubbish, so ignore it completely. But I'm also going to kind of open your eyes to what's actually going to come to you in the future as well. It's exciting stuff. Right, so my journey so far. I started in marketing about 1998. My first company was British Gas, and I started when British Gas it was a monopoly, it was state-owned, now it became a corporate in its own right. I started as a work planner. I used to manage a team of 32 engineers after graduating in university, in Coventry University. I did business IT, I majored in marketing, and I kind of followed that journey throughout my career. So British Gas, I started at the bottom in the operations, and then I worked my way up, and when I left British Gas, I was a senior marketing manager focusing on customer retention. Then, when I left British Gas, I moved on to the AA. You say, why the AA? Where's the synergy? The synergy was quite simple, because Centrica actually bought the AA, which is Centrica and British Gas at that time, and they bought the AA. They wanted to create a home and road service. So British Gas would look after the house, everything to do with the gas, servicing your radiator, your boiler, your fire, all of those things, and the AA would look after the car and the road side of it. But there was a challenge. The challenge was literally data. They couldn't share the data. They were still set up as two different institutes. So that's why I kind of worked at the AA. After leaving the AA, I worked at American Express, one of my favorite organizations to work for. Very challenging, very hardworking. I managed a team of 8 people there, focusing on retention, cross-sale, all inbound stuff. Everything is coming into the call center. We didn't have the technology that we have now to kind of generate more of an interactive conversation on a one-to-one basis. So after moving, I spent a few years at Amex, then I moved on to Age Concern, or now known as Age UK. This was a merger between Healthy Aged and Age Concern to form Age UK. Both charities doing the same thing. I introduced all the digital platforms there. We did our first email campaign in about 2000 and something at Age Concern. So now it's norm, but that's what we did. After Age Concern, I went back into corporate, worked at Aviva. I managed the retention and strategy team looking at how to retain private medical insurance customers. These are ABC ones, quite affluent people. Okay. Then moving on, RBS. I joined RBS when everything went peak-tong, when they were going through the transition, when the state was bailing them out. We had challenges there. When I joined, I could not wear my badge outside because there was so much animosity against the staff of RBS. So people think, okay, he's working RBS. We had on the back of our ID cards numbers to call if we felt threatened in a situation, and they'll come and help. There were security guards outside to help. So we went through quite a difficult time, but I enjoyed myself there because I went in as head of retention. The day I arrived, apart from being harassed when you go into the office, the day I arrived, leaving a well-paid job at Aviva to go into RBS, they announced a restructure. Literally at 3 o'clock on a Monday, on the 10th of January 2008, they announced a restructure. I was like, okay, out of the fire, out of the pan, into the fire. But I backed myself. It comes about your resilience, your confidence. That's what we kind of pick up on. After RBS, Fleet Mortgages, completely different size. This is a startup. In the second year, I was the 76th employee. So within 3 years at Fleet Mortgages, we developed a mortgage lending book of £1.2 billion. After 3 years, I got a bit bored, so I kind of left, took the summer off, started my MBA at University of Surrey, and after that, haven't looked back. And from that, we've kind of set up Multi-Stage Life. This is all about helping individuals from 14-year-olds to your age group, 25, 26, finding the right career path, trying to take them on the journey, because you guys potentially will live to over 100. How are we preparing for it? So this is a startup. We've been doing it for 4 months, my co-founder Wayne, and it's a journey. We will give it a go. If it works, but we're confident it will work because we have given ourselves a purpose. And the purpose is we want to positively impact 100,000 lives. We are in the process of developing an MVP. I'm happy to help anybody who's listening or going to listen later on, or people in the room. If you're looking for a job, I'm happy to kind of take you through the journey on the products that we've created. So we're also looking to use AI and machine learning to actually develop to scalable applications, scalable business. So that's the journey of where I've been. But my goal today is to really help you all succeed. It's as simple as that. That's my single-minded proposition today. And how am I going to do that? Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to share my mistakes, my successes, my tips, especially when it comes to marketing. But some of the tips I'm going to share is applicable to any industry as well that you go into. So that's where we're going to start. Right, so know your destination. So you need to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, that is not a problem either. And that because the reason why you know your destination is because it keeps you focused. It gives you a motivation to say, that's what I'm going to hold. As Norman Vincent Peale, he's a great positive thinker. He wrote loads of books and he's a positive thinking guru. So if you want to get somewhere, you need to know where you want to go. And to get there, never give up. I'll come on to that story in a little while, lots of downs. But I knew what I wanted to be. When I started carry on. When I started my journey, my first step was getting my degree. I did that. I didn't get my first job in marketing. I had 13 consecutive rejections. It's either I was really bad at interviewing, I probably was, but I had 13 rejections in a row. I did not give up because I wanted to get into marketing. So I did a different way. I went and applied to British Gas. I got a job as a planner because I was okay with computer systems. I could work out maths. I could do all of those things. Then when I got my foot in that industry, into that company, I worked my way up. I looked at different opportunities. So your first step is you need to know where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, that is not a problem. Let's take a step back, listen, think about what you enjoy. If you're all doing marketing, think what you really enjoy in marketing. Do you enjoy specific things within brand? Do you enjoy DM or relationship building? Think about it. And those things may come to you on a module that you're doing. And think, okay, I actually really enjoy that module. I really enjoy that coursework because the time just disappeared. I got a great grade or a mark, got a distinction. Brilliant. That's something you could focus on. That's your starting block. That's your first step in the journey. Then the next part of your journey is to block it. I worked, before we had kids, I worked in 5-year blocks. I was determined by the age of 40, I wanted to be a marketing director. That was my block. 5-year slots, what I wanted to get there, how I wanted to get there. I knew what I wanted, I had my route mapped, and I just worked my way up. But life gets in the way, in a nice way, we had our first born in 2004. He's probably listening. His name's Renee. And he actually changed my mind. I wanted to be at home, so I took a step back because my focus changed. I wanted to be on my journey at a different purpose, but I still am determined. I'm still driven. But now the boys are growing up, I will basically start my journey again. So 5-year blocks, 3-year blocks, it's whatever works for you. Most important thing to remember here, you are all on your own journey. Do not compare yourself to your friend. Oh, he's got a great consultancy job. He's earning 60 grand, 70 grand, right? Do not compare yourselves because it just makes you sad or it just frustrates you. Why am I not getting that lead? When I got 13 rejections, it wasn't about, I was, like I said, bad at interviews, but I was looking for that break. I was building up my resilience into thinking, okay, a no is just getting me a step closer to that job. Yeah. You are on your own journey, and that's how you need to focus. That's where you need to go. So please remember that. That's a big thing. It's really hard at the moment, because everything's on social media. We see it. I've got my friends doing this. We see that LinkedIn post. I get depressed looking at LinkedIn. Oh, this guy's really successful, right? But it's how do you cleanse yourself out of that thinking. So please, one key takeaway, you are on your own journey. You will write your own path. And that's what I really would like you to take away from any of this. But here are some more tips. Right. Road to success. It's not easy. We are not going to get the success overnight. It's going to take failures. There'll be loads of obstacles. There'll be mistakes we make. But the whole fun is the journey. The destination is just the end goal. And I'm going to share my experience. It was a British Gas. It was a merger. The British Gas, Centrica bought British Gas Home Services and British Gas Energy together. New department was formed, new head of marketing, because the marketing department I worked in, the head of the department actually took the VR because it was a great package. Okay. I remember 5:30 evening, I was meeting the head of marketing. We were going through the work I was doing, bearing in mind at Home Services we had some really good results in retention, saving the customers, stopping them from going. He goes, you will not succeed in marketing. I was just like, okay, taken back, a bit pissed off. Why would somebody say that? But I was like, okay, tell me why. The reason why he said is because our focus was purely on acquisition. British Gas was just worried about bringing the customers in, the whole energy part, bring the customers in. Retention was not part of the thinking because they had millions and millions of customers. But I didn't want to work in that organization because I was unhappy. I made the change. So one thing I was going to say to you guys is if you're unhappy in a job, do something about it. Don't get stuck within it. Okay? Because it's really important. You've got to spend a lot of time there and do something that you enjoy. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you will just get more and more frustrated and it impacts you differently. Okay, I'm just going to run back and change the slide. Okay. Right. Are you guys all in marketing? Or business? Business, okay. Let's go into marketing. Why? I'll pick on you guys in a minute. Sorry, it's interactive for a second or two. Right. Why marketing?
You can do so much with it.
Okay, I'll give you that. Lisa?
Why business?
Or why marketing? Or why business?
Business because it's pretty general and I like all the areas. Marketing because it's so creative.
Okay, I'll hold on to that thought, creative. I'll come on to that in a minute. Yourself there. Yeah. Does it have to be marketing? Why? Whatever industry you want to go into, whatever specialism.
Again, international business.
Perfect. Why that area?
Because I'm quite culture driven, so I like to learn about different cultures.
Perfect. The lady yourself there?
Creative.
Creative. So you're a marketeer. Business. So you were like creative, problem solving, innovation. Okay. So you guys have a reason and a passion of why you want to go there. So please remember that. Okay. As part of marketing, people think, oh, marketing is like just creative advertising, but it's not. It is much, much more than that. I really need to go back. Right. I might ask you to press the slides for me, please. Yeah. So, Mark, can you just go for it next? Just one at a time. Yeah. So, when things don't go well within marketing, this is how we know, right? So, it is all about, we're known as a colouring department. Right, so when people think, oh, what do you know about marketing? It's creative, you're colouring things. Right, so that's how salespeople know us as. Next, please. Oh, people think we sit in our ivory tower, we sit in the head office and just create campaigns. Okay, next. And we spend a lot of money, which we do, but they don't understand what we spend the money on because we are wrong or we don't understand how we get the message out. So there's a part of marketing communications, how we get things right, how we get things wrong, of those things. Next, please. Operations. Sometimes as marketeers, we become siloed, and that kind of leads on to impact on operations. So any part of the business, it's all about talking to people, making sure they understand your message as to what we're trying to say and what we're trying to do. Next, please, sir. And one thing they realize, we only do leaflets. So these are the negatives of marketing, right? When people don't understand what goes into. When you work in marketing, 90% of it's number crunching. You're doing analysis, you're looking at segmentation, you're looking at data, you're looking at numbers, money, how much you spend. Is my campaign strong enough to jump over the hurdles? So you will have to present, you get given a campaign. You have to present an ROI to get that campaign signed off. That's quite challenging when lots of other parts of marketing are fighting for that same customer. So it is complicated. But what's the positive? Please, next. What is marketing? To me, next please. Word cloud. Customer is king. Analysis, analytics. You've got videos, you've got sales, you've got ideas, you've got proof of concept, lots of things. It's very varied. So according to me, next, please. My top 5. Just carry on. Customer, like I said, is king. That's what we focus on. Doesn't matter what we do, the basics of marketing is identify that customer need and find a way of communicating it and satisfying that need. That customer is looking for that segment. How are we going to sell this product? On what benefit? Next, data analysis. So you need to understand who you're talking to, how big is the size of the customer base they're looking at. Is it going to generate the revenue that you want as well? Communication. Once you know who you're talking to, you know the size of the pie, the audience, you're looking at the communication. Is it clear? Are you getting your message clearly across to the customer? So one of the questions I usually ask myself, will my mum understand it? Is my message simple enough? Karen? Innovation and technology, you get to have fun. As marketeers, social media, we've adopted it within the process, how we communicate with customers. When I started, it's making me sound so old. When I started, Facebook was just coming in, but when we had that big economic crash, the graduates at that time were impacted, but they used social media and made it their own, and slowly, the corporates started to adopt it. And that's how we come in. So it's all in your hands part. Next, ideas. You get to create lots of ideas, you get to implement lots of ideas, and you also get to have fun implementing it because you can try out different creatives, different comms as well within it. So, next. So, my top tips to start in any organization. This includes when you're looking for a job. Understand the big picture of the company you want to work for or the department you're working in. Why do I want you to understand the big picture? Number 1, please. Values. Do the values of the organization relate to your values? Because you have a moral compass that you can use to attract or make sure you resonate with that individual or the organization. Number 2, you're working in an industry, you're working in a job, it gives you clarity because it makes you, when you're making a decision, when you've got to decide, go out like with a campaign A or campaign B? Which one is right for the customer? At the end of the goal, you've got to ask yourself, A or B, which one is going to satisfy that big picture? How am I going to reach that goal, the objective? That's the tough part. And that's when your ROIs come in. You might get a sign off, you might say yes, no. Next please. And the final one, destination. You need to know where you're going. Next. So, RBS, when I joined, it was scum of the earth. The customers didn't trust us because of where we were, what we did. But the CEO who came in, Ross McEwen, he actually changed and galvanized RBS. He made the organization, which was really complicated, really simple. He created a strategic direction with a single-minded goal. That was to make RBS, or NatWest, because part of the same group, best by 2020 in customer service. Bearing in mind the least trusted industry and the least trusted bank, we were on the bottom. But because what this did, it galvanized all the employees, every single department, from marketing, operations, the branches, all of those things. They were all driving for the same reason, providing great customer service to ensure that we work towards that goal. Next. British Gas. I started in home services. This was a problem child of Centrica. We were making, at that point, £1 million lost a day. Bearing in mind we were state-owned, so we didn't care about, but before that we were state-owned, not caring about money. But it was all about, back please, it was all about how do we get people to drive forward. And that was all about getting customers, investing in the staff, the infrastructure, all of those things. And within the focus and give us direction, this part of the organisation turned it into profit within 2 years. It wasn't big, it was £1 million profit, and within the next 3 or 4 years after that, it gave the benchmark and it did deliver about 50-60 million pounds a year because of what it was done. The direction of travel is quite important. Understand that picture. Next, please. Relentless focus on customers. That's marketing, that's in any business that we go into. Next. How? This is the simple part. How? And I'm going to take you to why. Can you scroll through? Experience the product. You buy something, you experience the product, you are going to go for an interview in a company. Check out the customer journey. Order that product if you can, or just get a quote of it. That gives you a feel of that company's, the way it communicates, the tone of voice, the copy. Next. Listen to the customers. And that comes of reading the reviews, going to the call center, frontline visits. I'll come on to that in a second. So next please. Operations. Make friends with operations because these are the people who are serving your customer. You are bringing them in as a marketeer. They are actually that lead. Are you sending the right message? Okay. Next. Customer journey. You need to understand it from pre-sale, post-sale, and win-back. That's the entire journey. You need to understand the in-between as well. So that's where we're going. Right? Next. Why? That's important. Why do I want to listen to the customer? Is because, one, you understand what your client is going through. When you send that message out, you understand, okay, this is how it's being realized by the client. You guys are my customers. I had a great brief from the team, so that's why I could hopefully cater to this need to give you an experience as to what I've been through. The industry experience is coming through. So I have to think about it. So I asked the question about who is my audience, graduates from business school or other people. So I have to kind of tailor my content. Number two, better briefs. You're a creative, you're in marketing. You need to tell a creating agency, turn this idea, customer segmentation into a message. So yeah, it comes on a one-pager. Next, clear communication. The output you get from the agency will be easier because it's more targeted and the message is clear and the messages can be passed on to everybody because you guys understand it. And it's making your job easier. Next, connect customer journey. It's basically now with technology, people are using phones in a different way. How are we doing this? So that's all kind of comes through. Okay? And that could lead to success or failure. A campaign does fail. Doesn't matter if you've done everything, your success campaign could still fail because segmentation wasn't right, or was it because your competitor came in with a much more powerful offer and kind of took everything away? Okay? AA, frontline visits. I had the pleasure of sitting in a van and responding to people who were broken down. The delight in the customer's face is when you say, oh wow, he's like my knight in shining armor, time to come and rescue me. Yeah, this is the journey. Next please. Amex. They were relentless on focusing customers. They wanted to make sure the service that was provided was top notch because that's a premium brand and the service for the black card customer was fantastic. They could call anywhere, anytime and it would be dealt with. The query concierge would deal with it. And people were, when I was part of the retention team when we were managing the Platinum card, which is a card where you pay £500 to get that privilege because it comes with lots of perks. Customers were getting upset because they weren't invited to go for the black card, the Centurion card, because they were spending hundreds and thousands of pounds. The experience was, it was a closed book, and so we put in a process because we listened to customers as to why they were leaving, and they had a country manager ring that premium customer to say, we will offer this to you on a one-to-one basis because you've been a valued customer, you spent a lot of money. So it's exciting stuff. Listen to your customer. Last but not least, Aviva. Coming into strategy, listen to customers, why they were leaving. We looked at NPS scores. Why were customers leaving? It's because they've been with us, Aviva, for 5-10 years and never really claimed the benefit. So they're spending £200-300 a month on private medical insurance and never used it. So this is all about that. How do we fix that? So you have to put in measures in place. Okay, next. Trust in the process. Doesn't matter which organization you're in, doesn't matter which department. You have to trust in the process. In marketing, we love a process. There's a process for everything. There's a process for getting your data, creative. How is the creative designed? How is the campaign process? How are you going to the campaign out within the 12 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever there is? You look at approvals process. Who needs to rubber stamp my creative so you can go out? At RBS, when I showed the success reel, I had to go through 21 different sets of approvals because it was a huge campaign. CEO had to sign it because he had millions of pounds attached to it and a big brand. So, budget management, money. How are you spending the money? Are you making money for me? How big a return am I getting on every pound I've spent? Stock management. If you work in literature, you've got to make sure all the branches are connected, well stocked. So, next. My tips. Know your customer, who it is. Right, next. Any project, work back from the timeline. Doesn't matter which department, work back from the live date. Create the timeline. Know your brand guidelines. That's specific to marketeers, the look and feel of your brand. Because you know it, when a brief comes in or the creative comes in, you can say it's on point, or no, it's not on point, go back. Right. Communicate key dates with stakeholders. That's really important because you need to manage upwards. Because if they don't know your date, they will throw a spanner in the works and you'll be like, okay, I've just got big problems. Next few, please. Yeah, and one more. Right, communicate, over-communicate if you need to, until somebody tells you to say stop. Because you need to make sure your message gets across. So you are not held at the last minute, accountable, and working in really tight time pressures. Stakeholders sign off at the concept stage. You have an idea, you have the creative brief response coming through, you need to get the sign off as early as you possibly can. If you leave it later, it will have an impact because they might change the brief and you have to start again. And that's when all the battles, to's and fro's comes in. Next, do not shortcut the process. I'll give you an example in a minute. Get all the approvals before going live. That gives you, I'll give you an example in a second. And contingency, allow lots of it because it will get whittled away. That's a guarantee. Even you probably guys are working in your projects now and you think, 2 weeks? And not more because people don't turn up or the deadlines are missed. It's reality. You need to make sure you allow for it and you focus on it. Right. Listen to feedback, challenge where necessary. You are leading a campaign, you're leading a project. It is your baby. You have to nurture it and you have to defend it. Because in marketing, everyone's a frustrated art critic. Everybody wants to save an ad. Everybody wants to change the creative. Because it's a different perspective. Okay. Updates. Just a weekly email. Get your update on a regular basis. Okay? Detail. I'll lead up to the next example. And keep calm and enjoy the adventure. Because it is an adventure. Once you do it once, you go and click it smoother next time round. Next, please. My mistakes. This is me, all out, nothing hidden. Projects, my failures. When I said attention to detail and my process failure at British Gas Home Services, I was responsible for terms and conditions change. I had to print. We got it all done on time. Printed a million of it. Million leaflets in that day and age because he was going out with every single bill or renewal statement. He went through the entire process. I got every single sign-off as necessary. But somebody different in operations picked up a mistake. On a million leaflets, what did I have to do? Very simple. We had to dump it all. That's £30,000 worth of print. It wasn't on me because I followed the process, but the process was flawed. What it did, it covered my backside. Because if I missed the process, if I did get the approval, it would have been my neck on the block. So trust the process. It will protect you. Amex. This is really important in any organization that you go and do. Learn how to get things done. You need to understand who is the decision maker. Who is going to sign things off? Who is going to create more pressure on you? I failed because I didn't do that properly. It took me longer to get my projects out because I was getting used to the organization. It's an American organization. I have a big team. I'm trying to manage the workload, so it's finding the right balance. Know the process. Okay? Final one. Fleet mortgages. This was 2 years ago. We changed the email system. We changed the way the emails were developed. Historically, we were just sending it through MailChimp as a HTML file. We wanted to kind of create a really targeted messaging, so we were using lots of different links within the messages. We tested it through the firewalls, but what we didn't account for was the different companies have different levels of firewall security. So 80% of my emails that were going out were not reaching the intended target. It's because it was blocked. The links were being taken out, so you get horrible creative. So we had to fix that, and we fixed it within the 2 weeks. Right, personal mistakes. These are important ones because this will help you all in any organization that you go into. When I started, I didn't get myself a mentor. This was a British Gas. I didn't get myself a mentor. So when I was frustrated, I couldn't bounce off ideas of people and get direction. I did not network. It is really important to network here because networking opens up 85% of the unposted jobs. This will help you open doors. And you build network over time. I'm not saying you've got 500-600 people on your LinkedIn. You don't want that. You want at least 15 to 20 people who you work with, you check in on a quarterly basis. If they post something on LinkedIn, comment on it because they know you are looking out for them and add value to them as well. By what you might see an article to say, oh, this is a great article. Please, here, have a look. I thought of you. It's getting the connection open. Ooh, go back one, please. Self-promotion. That's important. It's because don't expect your work to, get you the pay rises. What I mean here is you've done a campaign, go and talk to the different department heads in the organization. It's really important. Why? Because it links to the next place. Because especially in American organizations, when the managers actually get together to look at your annual review, then it is a bun fight. Everybody's out to protect their employees. But you make your manager's life easier because you have been promoting your work. You talk to lots of department heads. Instead of I did this campaign. So when they're having these discussions, they say, okay, yeah, I know Dush. He did this project for me. He failed on this project, but he told me the reasons why, and this is what he's done about it. So it's aware, self-aware, you're raising your profile, promote yourself. The work alone it won't get you in. Advocate. This is not the same as a mentor. In an organization, you get somebody that you trust, your director, you build that rapport, the relationship with them to get you what you want. Okay? That can lead to all of this. Next, please. Can also lead to some of this. This is me showing off my work. Sorry. So, can you please press play?
For your dream or someone else's, try out Easy ISA, the NatWest eISA. Now that's helpful banking.
So that's potentially just understanding the process, going through the process. I had to get 21 different sign-offs for that. The CEO signed it off because it was having a major brand impact. So yeah, carry on. Right. Okay. This is where technology goes wrong. So, success rate, not going to go through all of those, but the two I'm going to talk about, you don't need lots of money to succeed. Fleet mortgages. I did not have millions and millions of pounds. I had less than £50,000 a year. Because of the technology that's out there, YouTube, the creation of videos, we were successful in generating £1.2 billion of mortgages. And yeah, just click on to the next two, and one more. Multi-stage life. When I started working, I didn't even know I was going to create my own website. Still in progress, it's taken me a long time. I don't have the expertise, but the SaaS tools help you. So you will succeed. It actually helps you create and get your message out quicker. That's what it's all about. So, next. Working in marketing, not going to go through those. Next 5, please. My take. It's fun. Yeah. There's variety. You ask a marketeer, is there a job? I work in marketing, there are 2 or 3 different people come up with 2 different jobs. I do media planning, I do buying, all of those things. Okay, next. Variety, and again, pressure. There is definitely pressure. You have to get campaigns out on time. That comes with time. And that's why I said that enjoy the adventure. You have to manage the process. You have to manage people. Next. Frustrating. It is frustrating because you start with one creative looking this way, you end at something completely different because somebody pulled rank or they had a better idea. You have to be open. And it's fast-paced. Depending on the organisation, things can change overnight. If you're working in above the line, you want to get a press ad out in a metro for next day, you have to get things done. You're working with agencies, you're working with print houses. It is fun. It is fast-paced. Okay, next. Moving on to the next 10 years. Okay, a journey through time. So this is just a quick synopsis of what was happening when I started in marketing. Okay, next. 85. Press, TV, and direct mail was king. 1998-ish, 1988, TV had the biggest spend of advertising. It was in billions of pounds. Next. Then 91, internet went live in August. 1995 to 2003, the phones came in, SMSs were sent out in 96, Netflix came on, Amazon. The industry bubble burst. That's when things really started changing. That's when you guys actually took over what was happening next, which was, I came into marketing in 98. I had to get that in there, so it's a journey. Alright? 2002 to present time, I had to remove things because it's changing so fast. MySpace has been and gone. LinkedIn arrived in 2003. Facebook 2004. 668 billion pounds was the spend on e-commerce in the UK last year, in GB last year. So you've got big data. In 2012, social media really came into fruition. They were generating plausible leads that was being used. Programmatic, big data, and Pepper, robotics. That leads us next into the future. Please play that. So it's quite interesting. Just within the next 8 years, what's going to come our way. So this is a quick synopsis. Yeah, it's moving. The technology, the development is moving so fast. It's exponential, moving fast. We can't keep up. I thought things were moving fast with the social media space. This is just going on steroids or more. Next, genuinely, it scares me. The chip, by 2026, a chip to actually receive a phone call. Getting paranoid here. You guys been watching The Boys on Netflix? No? Okay, I'll leave you with that thought. Things explode. I'll leave you with that thought. Okay, because that's now. Artificial intelligence, the robots are actually there. My brother-in-law has got so many Google plugs and things like that. He's connected to the internet. He's got robots cleaning the floor. Yeah, it is happening. This is really great. Sensors. Sensors in your clothes. What I can see lots of applications around it. I'll give you a prime example. One of our very close friends, she's 87. Okay, she was coming down from upstairs. She fell. She didn't have her clicker with her. So she actually fell, broke her collarbone, stayed in that one position from 8 a.m. to approximately 7 p.m. because she couldn't get up. Nobody was visiting her that day until somebody said, I haven't seen Yvonne. I drove past their house 4 times, going to drop the kids off, pick them up, back and forth. Because it wasn't my turn to check, I didn't bother. But I just felt like poop. But imagine if somebody felt she was worried that a message went out, incidents occurred, go and do something, people will be there. I have it on my watch. When I go cycling, if I kind of take a tumble, a message goes out to my wife to say an incident's occurred. She will ring me up to say, actually, are you okay? I'll say yes. But there's one more thing that really scares me about the board. As humans, we are great at negotiating the grey area and making the right decision. What is it going to be like on the board? When there's all of these things are coming so quickly, it will happen, but not as quick as my personal opinion. It's very small, very humble. There are much more better people than me, cleverer people than me. But I feel that it will take time. It's going on. So, megatrends, 4th industrial revolution, which is all about data, science, all of those things. Can we carry on? So megatrends, just to go through it, we can't escape them. They're not like category trends which will come and go away in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. This will have a global impact anywhere, but the timing of it may differ because of the development in that region. So everything that we're doing here will have some form of an impact. Going forward, and again, so robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, society, it's going to make our lives better. Brilliant. Number 1, please. Automation. It's happening. It's out there. Right. Number 2, better quality of life. Oh yeah, all these robots. Going to hoover, clean everything for us. Who's going to pay for them? That's the other way of looking at it. Number 3, please. Uniquely human. We will be looking more for the human experience, the warmth of the human experience. Or it might not work for us in that way. So, AI and convenience. Artificial intelligence is going to provide the convenience where we want that quick answer. We have seen it being used live in situations already. And number 5, regulations and risk need to play catch up big time because things are moving so fast. Next, please. So, how is it going to impact marketing? Okay. For the consumer, we are the most demanding people on the planet at the moment. Because, number 2, we are so connected. We've got free data, we've got free Wi-Fi. We demand that we order something in the morning, it arrives when I want it, at the time I want it, the same day. And that's just getting better. According to Foresight Factory, by 2025, 28% of the world's population will have access to Prime-like services. Globally. It's quite scary. We are moving at such a pace. Okay, next. Choice. We have lots of choice. If you're not happy with something, we go somewhere else. We didn't have, in historical times, a few years back, we didn't have that much choice. Now it's all about Amazon. Oh, I want something, find it. Or now I'm kind of saying, I don't want to go on Prime, look for somebody else, but the deal is always better on Prime, so you come back to it. So there's choice. We will go on that. We have small entrepreneurs who are actually developing some great services. Okay? Voice of the independent experts. That's people like you guys, people like me. We are not trusting the corporates because of the experience that we've had. It's in your power to rely on somebody who's like me because you know they've been through an experience. Okay? So, what this works out to, we are taking the power. The brands haven't got the power anymore unless they start to adopt. Next slide, please. What does it mean? You have to truly be customer-centric. We have the data, we have the MI, we have the AI. I'll show you an example of how we can be customer-centric. Historically at British Gas, we tried to be customer-centric, but we didn't have the speed, the technology to do that. We had to carry out market research. That took time and money. But now you can, as a small business, design a Google form, it goes live. And people get responses straight away. We're doing that for a project at the moment. It's that easy. So you should truly be customer-centric. Right. Jeff Bezos, if you're focused on the competitor, you will have to wait for them to do something. But if you're focusing on the end consumer, you can be the pioneer. That's how they've led. That's how they've won. That's how they're ahead. Next. Personalization. This is all about me. The me, and me. Not you, just me. It's about, that's what you guys want, that's what we want. I want a customer journey that is focused all about me. I want to know the right content at the right time. Humanizing the customer journey with the advent of AI, and the more and more companies use it, we are going to lose the emotion, we become more efficient. So this is an opportunity for a brand to put in the human voice, the warmth message, the cuddly message. Because as humans, we want both. We want efficiency and we want the nice parts of humanity. Okay, so Marcoms, marketing communications, human science. Think about the 4 E's. This is really interesting. We think about the 4 P's, product, price, place, promotion. But think about the 4 P's next, which are engagement. The journey, the customer journey has to engage you in a one-to-one. You have to have exclusivity. I will come on to that in a second. And emotion. How are we talking? There's technology developing which is looking at your emotions. It's a fledgling technology, but it's there. It's being developed. So, and you've got your experience. People want a unique experience. I'll come on to that in a second as well. So, immersive channels. Use of VR, augmented reality. Imagine you designing a kitchen, you create an augmented reality where your customer can actually experience the usability of the kitchen and change things around. Next, enhanced loyalty, exclusivity. At the moment, loyalty is complicated. We are waiting for the customer to trigger. We have a card. How do we take it forward? What about Siri or Google coming in, they're reading your mood or whatever, thinking, you had a really shitty day. Domino's have got a free pizza. You like a pizza? Will that make you feel better? Would you like me to order it? Imagine that coming in because you already have a loyalty established with your with Domino's. Okay, advertising. That's at the moment. It's all. I am trying to guess what segment is going to relate. How are they going to relate to it? But things are about to change. Next, please.
Right? Insight is everything in advertising. You want to learn as much as possible about your audience so you can serve them the very best content the very best way. Right now, current ad tech methods like dynamic creative optimization rely on preset assumptions to target consumers. And that works pretty well. But DCO can only ever be reactive, relying upon outside context to determine what the consumer sees. If you want to elevate your strategy, you need a new approach. It's time for AI. AI you can trust. Watson AI. IBM Advertising Accelerator, Watson, is about predictions, not assumptions. It's Watson AI predicting the right combination of creative elements to really command your attention. And after it started serving ads, Accelerator automates the discovery and segmentation of audiences based on what's resonating with people. It continuously predicts in real time across hundreds of ad variations, finding the best combinations to put in front of different people, right down to the level of the individual. The beauty of this approach is that it detects hidden engagement patterns across audiences, things you didn't even know you should be looking for, things you didn't know you didn't know. Accelerator automatically adjusts for successful new engagements, modifying campaigns while they're in flight to help unlock their highest possible value. In testing, we found that Advertising Accelerator delivers a 3-fold increase in ad effectiveness. But the real power of Accelerator is that it gets better with experience. Watson's unique algorithmic approach means Accelerator learns and improves over time. Your predictions will grow stronger with every use. Isn't it time for your advertising to stop reacting and start predicting? It's time to expect more from your digital campaigns. With Advertising Accelerator Watson, now you can.
So, whilst that's finishing off, I just want to let you know, when I was doing the campaigns, digital campaigns, I couldn't make a change. I had to wait for that campaign to finish. Or I have to do a completely creative, but what they are saying is literally, it will happen quickly. You can do it in flight. The campaign can be changed because you've got the analytics to track it. The AI is going to help you predict who's going to respond to what type of creativity. It's fascinating, but complicated, but exciting. I'm not that clever to understand the algorithms, but I can use it. How we need it. So, customer experience. Convenience is key. So, in terms of, like I said earlier, where and when. That's what we want, clarity. Comes down to lots of chatbots and AI coming in. How are we talking to them? The human wants to know, am I talking to a human or am I talking to a chatbot? We need to be clear up front. Google Duplex did in 2018 made a call to a restaurant. The restaurant could not tell it was a robot that they were talking to. I think there's a clip somewhere on Google. But now, it frustrated the humans because they didn't know who they were talking to. Now, the Google Duplex will make a call and say it's an automated call. So you're managing expectations. Real-world spaces. So that is talking about the immersive experience, getting people, like-minded people, to share their experience in retail space using VR, augmented reality. And we can get really frustrated if we get it wrong. Next slide, please, Al. And just play it.
What's the buttons? No, they installed voice recognition technology in this lift. I heard about this.
Voice recognition technology in a lift in Scotland. You ever tried voice recognition technology?
No.
They don't do Scottish accents.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11.
11. 11.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11.
Whose idea was this? You need to try an American accent. 11. 11.
That sounds Irish, you know, American.
What does it? 11.
Where in America is that? Dublin?
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
Try an English accent, right? 11. 11.
You for the same part of England as Dick Van Dyke.
Listen, yours on smartass.
Please speak slowly and clearly.
Smartass.
11.
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
11. If you don't understand the lingo, away back home to your own country.
Ooh, is that talk now, is it? Way back to your own country?
Oh, don't start, Mr. Bleeding Heart. How can you be racist to a lift?
Please speak slowly and clearly.
11. 11. 11. 11.
You're just saying it the same way.
You want to keep saying it till I understand Scottish, alright? 11. 11. 11. 11.
I'll just take his head out of your cow.
This is a voice-activated elevator. Please state which floor you would like to go to in a clear and calm manner.
Calm. Calm. Where's that coming from? Why is it telling people to be calm?
Because they knew they'd be selling us to Scottish people who'd be going up for nuts at it.
You have not selected a floor.
We have 11.
If you would like to get out of the elevator without selecting a floor, simply say, "Open the doors, please."
Please. Please. Suck my lolly. Why would you just say please? I'm not begging that for nothing. Open the doors, please. Please. Pathetic.
Please remain calm.
What's the matter tonight? Get up now. Just wait for it to speak.
You have not selected a floor.
Use your cow. You know what's in these doors? I'm going to come to America. I'm going to find whatever desperate actress gave you a voice, and I'm going to go in an electric chair for you.
Scotland, you bastard!
Scotland!
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 So it can just tell you how frustrating it can get. You guys have probably been or talking to something or an AI about it. It can get frustrating if you don't get it right. So we have to understand the native language that's going to be out there. And that will take some time. So, next, media. Emotion tracking. This is the media agency. This is the people who are selling you lots of data, lots of news. They need to use emotion tracking. When you're reading something, the camera, they can pick things up. and they can adjust the content around it. Immersive content, VR, augmented reality, and people coming back to that. And social media, people want to talk to bots to do basic things, but they get really frustrated when they want to deal with a complaint because they don't get the responses or they get stuck in a loop. So that's where the human side of it comes in. People prefer talking to a human to resolve a problem. 70% of people who were surveyed by AI Financer, they said 70% of people prefer to talk to a human when they're making a complaint. So that's what it is. It will frustrate people. There's lots of opportunities as well. Next, please. Regulation and risk, datagopoly. We are talking about Google, Facebook. On one hand, there are talks about breaking them up, making them smaller, more accountable. On the other side, those same companies are lobbying the politicians to keep them together. It's an interesting area, but it's really complicated. And how are we going to do that? Next, AI, facial recognition. This is coming in. We are giving away free data. People looking at me and recognizing my face. There are lots of issues around it. It's not fully developed because it can't recognize skin tones. It can't recognize differences, and that could be used in the wrong way. If I was a customer and I got called up for saying, "Oh, you've stolen something," I'd be like, "What the?" I haven't done anything because my face showed that feature because it didn't recognize it properly. So it has to. There are lots of what are the rules and regulations around that? How are we going to protect ourselves? Next, AI. AI is really, China and America are leading the race. They have got the technology, they've got the people, they've got the money. But UK is not far behind in terms of what it can do. We, as a country, United Kingdom, are very good at ethics, morale, bias. We can audit. Imagine an industry create an auditing AI based on some of these things. Ethics, bias. At the moment, an earlier technology, the video I showed in bias, we can learn from our mistakes. But humans will program that bias in without realizing. How do we balance it out? It's a complicated issue, and we in the UK, I believe we can come to that. Governance and transparency. Organization will break rules to make the bottom line using AI, the data. Societal issues. Where is it going to impact us? People losing their jobs. How are we going to create more jobs? The data scientists will come in, so people will have to reskill. The government's campaign that went wrong, asking about Ballerina to be a cybersecurity expert. So things like that, it has to be the right way. Next, cybersecurity and data privacy. We have to guard it, we have to protect it. GDPR is a start. EU are coming up with principles to stop the Googles and Facebooks getting the data. What is the impact? So, next. We, the organizations who get those things right, will win because they need to win our trust. That's the crux of it. If we can trust an organization, we will deal with them. Okay. Next 3 years, AI is going to get even better. Data and facial expressions are going to get better. How we're going to realize what moods we're feeling as well. Immersive systems, so this is looking at sensors, your emotions, when you're walking, it's all coming. It will arrive in a corporate environment in a slow world, but it will come through. Right, next, how to succeed. Oh, too excited there. Right, have a rough plan, get a mentor, promote yourselves, promote your work. Like you guys are doing this, it's a great way of promoting on LinkedIn. Resilience, you will get a no, it's what you're going to do to step up. Evolve, learn to evolve, be hungry to learn because things are moving so fast, you need to keep abreast of the changes that are happening in the field that you want to be in. You don't have to learn everything, but know the things which are happening in your industry. Network and build bridges, that opens lots of doors. When I say network, you might actually make friends who's the lady who brings your coffee into your meeting rooms because sometimes you can get extra biscuits or you want something later. By building those relationships, you get things. Time management, learn to say no. If you're overwhelmed, you say no in a proactive way, saying, I can't do it now for you, I can do it next week. Is that important? Is that okay? Is that understood? Confidence. Walk into the room as if you belong there because you have earned the space. You went through the interviews, you went through the psychometric testing or whatever you need to do to get that job. You have worked hard. You walk into that room, that job, you belong. Questions, clarifications. I'm old school, write it down. Because what, as the manager, will really annoy me, you ask the same questions 2 months later. I said, why don't you write it down? I explained it to you. Okay. And clarification is really important. If you don't understand the point, let it simmer in your mind, ask 24 hours later, say, look, we talked about this, not so sure, can you give me an update on this, or clarify it? And overall, be genuinely helpful. Because that will get you so many friends and get you so many opportunities. Right, that's me. All I have left to say is, it was fun, it was good, thank you. Okay, and over to you guys.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Okay, so we will be moving on to the question part of our keynote today. I'm afraid they will have to be rapid fire questions as we are coming towards
Sorry.
the end. No, honestly, that was a brilliant presentation. Thank you so much for, giving us your industry experience and giving us tips. I'm sure not only myself, but hopefully everyone here found it useful as well. But first question.
I believe Janvi sent one question.
Yeah,
would anyone like to say it further? Yes, so this is from Janvi. What is your take on the use of data in marketing in an age where consumers are increasingly wary of storage of personal data, etc., for targeted marketing?
Great question. My take on it is we need the data. It's easy as that. For a business to survive and for us to serve the customer correctly, we need that data. But, like I mentioned earlier, the organization needs to earn the trust of that client, of that customer. And it has to be upfront and transparent how they're going to use the data. If they're going to say, I'm going to use the data to just give you information when you want it and the channel you want it, I think the customer's fine. But if they go on and sell the data to somebody else without my consent, that will really piss me off. So there's need for data. I think there's a fine balance. The rules and the regulations like GDPR is coming in to protect it. It stops some companies from entering the EU market because of GDPR. And there was a company in New York which was data scraping social profile and selling it to companies as an acquisition lead. Those companies can't come in here because of GDPR. They need to know what they're getting data for. So there's definitely a need of transparency needed from the company.
I actually have another question.
Go far away.
How important do you think it is for people who want to start up in marketing to actually go in digital marketing rather than just like the core marketing, because everything's going online, everything's going digital. So how important is it to focus on that industry more than just the marketing?
So, okay, so the question is around digital versus traditional marketing. Yeah. So digital is king. You guys live in that age. But it depends how you use the traditional marketing, the paper. In earlier slides, 1985 to 1990, paper was king. Now, everything went through paper. And digital was like gold. It needed to be protected and well used. Now it's the other way around. That there's this time and a space for a paper type communication. If you want to create an experience which is immersive, look and touch and feel. When you get the welcome pack, that you open it, you think, okay, that's great. You can't quite get that in a digital world. So there's a focus on it as well. But if you want to do scalability in the me world, then digital is king. You go digital 100%.
Thank you, Inesh, for your question. So I've got some questions from the mentee that we've got up. So the first question is, how did you choose your degree program in business and IT?
Why did I choose that?
Yeah.
Okay, I chose it because I wanted to keep my options open. Then very soon I realised I wasn't very good at IT. So that's why I majored in marketing. So I was the only potentially one or two IT students who did a lot of marketing in the process.
Thank you. And the second question is, how should students go about finding a mentor?
I think the Pathfinder service at Surrey is really good. Okay, and you can actually approach, there's a official mentor website as well that can be found. But you can actually look on your LinkedIn profiles and approach people and say, if there is a rapport between yourself and the individual, you can actually ask them to mentor. I mentor a few people because we've developed a rapport around it as well. But there's definitely check out the Pathfinder service here. It's a great start.
That's brilliant. I'm sure many of us looking for placements, final years, etc. That will be helpful.
I am happy to have conversations with people. I'll share my details as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have one last question. Is what would you say your top tip is from all the tips that you gave? I know you have that list. So what's the most important one to focus on?
Great question. Most important, it's be yourself. It is genuinely be yourself. Do not try and imitate anybody else. I have kind of learned that over making lots of mistakes, but be yourself, because that will help you convey yourself better as well. Any more?
We've just got 2 more questions.
Far away.
What is the best career advice you've received?
Apart from you got to shit at this job. But, my best career advice was from my general manager, Peter. He basically said to me, don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you make a mistake, you learn from it. Because if you make the same mistake twice, I'll kick your ass. That was it, and I've stuck by it. It kind of gave me the freedom to think and to do things. Don't be afraid that everything has to be 100% perfect before it goes out. You want it to be just right to get it going because you can evolve it. So don't be afraid to make a mistake. But as long as you learn from it and you can demonstrate to people what you learned from it. I put the mistakes down earlier. We've learned from it. So when I go to the next job or wherever, I can take those with me. Like I said, it's the journey.
Okay, anybody else have any more questions? Oh, that's brilliant. And I will now hand over to Anita and we will wrap up.
So, thank you so much for that insightful talk, Dashpata. I think everyone in the audience and everyone online can say that it was amazing. For me, it was very insightful because marketing is one of the paths I'm considering. A special thanks to Rama. Rama and Naz helped put this together, and I think it couldn't be as brilliant without their help. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you Friday on the interviews, tips and tricks. Bye!